When I was a little boy, I used to make Meccano models. I've always been good with my hands, being able to manipulate tools, welders and making things. My name is Mark Lesick. I was a right arm bowler and I want to be a right arm bowler again. "14 years ago, I was travelling up the East Coast. The tray of a very wide truck came through my windscreen pillar and sheared my arm completely off. It's pretty hard on you emotionally to wake up and realise that you've lost the main tool of your body, your right arm. I was told I would never work again.
When someone says, look, it can't be done, that it spurs him on even more. Well, he pretty well got back to work straight away.
I've been in the engineering game for almost 50 years. Upper limb amputees get a body-powered hook or a body-powered hand. It's uncomfortable, they just don't work. I decided to have a crack at making my own prosthesis. I only had a left hand at the time I made this. This is a right hand, so I had to replicate each and every part opposite hand and make a replica in the shop. In the early days it was just two lightweight soft drink bottles with a simple hinge, and then that progressed to body-powered arms.
Body-powered prosthetics are over 100 years old, and the technology used back then is still in use today. It relies on body movements to pull wires or flick switches in order to move the prosthetic limb.
My primary objective for making my arms is to get my own function back, and the second function is pushing the boundaries for other amputees. It's a 3D reverse copy of my left arm. The wire is very small, thin, like fishing line. When I got the bolt in my arm, it made it so much easier to design things.
Osseointegration is a procedure or a technique where a prosthesis is directly attached to the bone. So that's an X-ray of Mark. So that's the shoulder joint that we're looking at, and this is the armpit. This bit is the osseointegration. This is called the fixture, which is a titanium implant that is inserted into the bone and gets integrated. In other words, it almost becomes like part of the bone. So Mark had his procedure done in Sweden. Because he was so short, he was deemed at quite significant higher risk of failure.
They rated that chances of success at 50%, and I was determined at that point that it was going to be 100%.
Mark is a little bit different than most patients that we would see. I think he would accept any risk if he saw an improvement.
Initially, it was a bit freaky having a bolt coming out of your bone through the skin. As soon as I got the bolt in and started using a prosthesis, it was happy days, because it was the first time since my amputation that I feel as though I've got an arm again and I forget the fact I'm an amputee.
Recently, Mark was given the opportunity to receive cutting-edge prosthetic technology called Targeted Muscle Reinnervation, TMR for short, or in layman's terms, a mind-controlled arm.
It's rewiring what's been left behind in terms of nerves or muscles, and getting your brain to use the prosthesis in a way that it becomes natural. You think of opening your hand, your prosthetic hand opens. You think of closing it, it goes. So it's a natural way of controlling your arm. It's simple as that.
I'm working this arm with my mind, and this is a breakthrough thanks to all the team in Melbourne. I've got to be careful I don't punch myself in the face. I'm so excited.
Although this technology comes from overseas, it's the combination of the two that makes Mark's case unique.
People that have had the combination of osteo and TMR will be extremely small. Probably less than 10, I would guess.
In the world?
In the world. So I think we're doing very well for a small country with limited resources.
I used to lift my shoulders, and all the time I'm doing this, and it looked a bit odd. I'm doing this all day. But now I can just think, and there it is. So comforting to do that. Have thought control on my face, so I could possibly shave doing that.
But the one downside for Mark is that when things go wrong, this appendage is so high-tech, it's pretty much impossible for him to tinker with.
Yeah, no, it's not charging. It's frustrating, it's damn frustrating.
So that job is left to Melbourne's king of prosthetics, David Lee Gow.
I've been working in the prosthetic field for about 33 years now. So when I was training, wooden legs were still available and fabricated. Traditional prosthetic management has major difficulties and it has a high rejection rate. TMR and osseointegration eliminate some of those rejection rates and allows a functional prosthesis to be a reality for clients.
There are around 23,000 amputees in Australia. 75% are lower limbs and 25% are upper limbs.
Morning, Mark.
Morning, David.
How are we going?
No, there's a few power issues, but I'm sure we can fix it.
I'll bring you through.
Thank you.
Mark is an extremely passionate person. There was a period of time that he wasn't being looked after by a prosthetist, and that's when all this creation and development came out.
Yep.
So he seems to champion the cause of the amputee for better prosthetic care and better prosthetic outcomes. Now we've got the power source, let's go back in and check everything out, calibrate it. Elbow up, and hold the signal, 2, 3, relax.
I am rebaping my brain at the moment, of course. And I've got to just think the same sensation and repeat it until it becomes second nature.
These little dimples are reflecting of where the electrodes are actually placed on the residual limb to pick up the signals. So all of those nerves are doing different functions. So at the moment, we've got signals from the first 3, and the signals from these 4th and 5th will eventually get better over the next 6 months. When Mark first put his prosthesis on and the hand actually opened for the first time, he was nearly jumping out of his skin.
When I got my new arm and was able to hug my family and my friends, it was just such a joy. And that joy will never stop.
It does take clients like Mark to push the boundaries of prosthetic development. They have to be tried on someone, and Mark's the type of individual that wants to lead from the front and is willing to take the chance, and behind him, the rest of the amputee population can follow his guide.
I think I've made the medical fraternity push the limits. In the early days, they thought that I was just a crazy amputee from Tasmania, but in fact, in time, they took me seriously.
He's an absolute legend. Yeah, he's taught me one thing, and that's to never ever give up. If you're down on your luck, just keep going and you'll get there.